Yeah. So anybody has a question in the previous topic? Only HBase is okay. Scoop export is pending. Okay. So let's see the other commands. Yesterday we done some command in the HBase. Okay. Yeah. So I have to start my HBase. You this book is 3D bin. Okay, but before that I have to start the Hadoop service. Write one all.sh. So yesterday we seen the basic commands like create tables and listing table, disabling a table. Okay, so let's see this command. So I'm starting the HBase. If HBase shell. So how to make any table disable, right? Because when I'm going to drop any table, if I check any table, so I cannot drop the table without disabling the table. Okay, so if I try the table to drop, so it will not be dropping. Okay, so it is asking to disable the table first. Disable. So once I make it disable, then I can drop the table. Then drop EMP1 and I do list. So EMP table is drop. If I want to check any table status, right, is enabled or disabled, okay, so I can check it with the method is enabled and I pass the table. We can So I can, this table is enabled. Okay. If any table is disabled, the status will be true. Okay. There is a method is disabled. Okay. So if I make it any table disable, emp10, okay. And now I check the status is disabled, emp10, disabled. So there is a method is enabled and is disabled. So if we disabling table or enabling table, we can do enable disable method. Okay. And disabling table by disable method. Okay. And there is a is underscore disabled. Is underscore disabled. Is disabled. So is disabled is true means the table is disabled. If I want to make a table enable, I can make it a table enable. Okay, so now table is enabled. And if I want to find the count of record in the table, so there is a count function. I can get the count. If I do scan, I can see how many records are there. Okay, I can check, like there is a record one, right? Because ID, row ID is one. But this row ID one has the column family, one column family, two columns. Okay. So we can check the records by using scan and get command. Okay. Okay. So one more command is there, exist command. If I want to check whether the table is exist or not, we can check. So if I know the table name and I want to verify whether the table is exist or not exist, so one way I can check through the list, right? And I can check through exist command. Exist command will tell me whether the table exists or not exists. Okay. And truncate is there. So truncate is basically deleting the record. So truncate will disable the table and truncating the record. Okay. So if I do, okay. So table is still there. Okay. Table is not dropped. Okay. If I do scan emp 10, but record is delete. Okay. When we do delete command is deleting record, but it can be rolled back. But scan this truncate command, the records cannot be rolled back. So delete command is deleting record. So if any table I want to delete a data, so delete is more specific one, right? Because truncating is entire data is deleting. It is not keep checking any particular, you don't need to specify any row ID, right? But delete is similar to the get. Okay. So get, you can provide a specific row ID, okay, column family, and get like you can get the data, right, through get command. And the same like delete, you are specifying the row ID and row ID value and the column family. So it is very specific to the delete specific data. And when you use delete all and then you say table name and row ID, then it delete the entire data of that row ID. If you don't give the row ID, it will delete all. So delete all command, you can delete all the cell in the particular row ID, like entire row you can delete. Okay. Like this. Okay. So there are the Java APIs are there, like we can create a Java project, and for whatever we done in the command line, we can do through the Java API. There is a hbase admin API. So what is this hbase admin API? This hbase admin API is there is the Java classes are there, and we can create a project, and then we can perform our operation through the Java code. Okay. So Java code, there are the Java classes are there, methods are there. So for each operations, there is a one method like create table, delete column, right? We have. Okay, if I'm going to create a table through Java API, so first of all, we need this is a main function. So we have a configuration object. Configuration is the like we are getting a connection. So configuration object, we are getting a connection to create a hbase. Like we get a hbase admin object. Okay, this configuration object, we get the hbase admin object, and through this hbase admin object, if we further what we are doing here, we are creating a one table descriptor object, and admin object, we are calling this create table function. Okay, and pass the table descriptor. So if you see here, this hbase table descriptor, we are giving a information about the table, like table name, table column family. So for creating a table, you need a one table name and column family. So that information you need to create a table. The same information we need here. We need a table name and we need a column family, right? And same information, if you provide your program will create a table in HBase. Okay, so this is a programmatic approach. Right, in Hadoop file system, right, we have a HBase Hadoop SDFS Java API. We can create a folder, create a file, copy a file. The same way we can do in HBase. Okay, HBase, there are the other how to see the list of table using the Java API. So you have to need this configuration object. You need a HBase admin object, and then you need a table descriptor. So admin dot list table. Okay. And once you have list table, so once you have list table, and then you can iterate through the for loop. So you can get this is an array, table descriptor array you will get, and you will get the get name string. This is your all table names it will provide. Okay, so if you want to set up this code, okay, so we need some GitHub code, right? We can find actually hbase java admin. So like I want to set up the code. So I need a complete Java project example. So I need a form project. Some Maven project we look at. So Maven project we need. The Gradle. The Maven project. HBase demo. So you can see this is a H table, right? The scan function, they created a scan. Test get function, right? To how to get the data from the table. Delete, right? How to delete a table. Put, right? You want to write something in the. So this is same like HBase admin object, HBase table descriptor object, right? And this all completely one single main class they have written, right? And this one, they need some libraries. So they need HBase client libraries, right? Okay. So we can take a latest version. This is a pretty old one. So it will, so this Java class project, this can run as a main function. So it will connect your, so we have to provide your HBase zookeeper quorum. So here is the local host, right? We don't have multiple machines. We have only one local machine, and zookeeper port is 2181. So zookeeper port is 2181. So we have to set HBase zookeeper quorum property. So zookeeper, it will find a connection detail for HBase and it will get the connection. Okay, and then it will connect to the HBase. So this Java project we can connect to the HBase. Okay. Okay. I will give you the complete source code one so that you can test it like any. There are many other you can find GitHub code, right? So the latest one we can check HBase 2.5.6 or 2.5.3 version. libraries. Okay. 2.5.3 code. Library jars we need to connect it. And HBase is having the REST API also. This is the one way of HBase. So three ways. So HBase is the one command line. Okay. So whatever we are looking at, this is the HBase shell. Okay. So one is we are connecting HBase using the HBase shell. Second one, HBase Java API. Okay. So in HBase Java API, right? Java project we can do, and HBase REST API. So HBase is also Thrift server. Okay, Thrift is a API, Thrift API. So Thrift is basically uh, REST-based API, right? So I can connect HBase using the REST API. So some REST APIs are exposed. So if I find HBase REST API, so example, like where I can create a table, right? We can the whatever things we can do the command line shell, and we can do with the REST curl command. Okay, you have seen already in the Hadoop file system, right? SDFS curl command. So similar way, there is a HBase curl API commands are there. So if you want to create a column family with create table, so you have to specify and you have to provide the this APIs. Okay. So if because HBase is running in the local server, right? So there is we can access using the like if I want to get all the table list through REST curl command, we can get list of table in HBase. So through terminal you can do, or through REST API you can have browser or some Postman you can use. Mm. So HBase is having the REST API connection, so we can use the REST API connection and we can get to the REST request. So there are the different requests are there, right? Like I can create a table, put request, delete request, post request, get request. So getting a table through get request, right? I can get all the list of tables using the get request. Okay. Okay, anyone has any question? I will give you this list of REST APIs command as well as the Java API project. So anyone has any question? Okay. So if you go through the HBase, just go through the tutorial, okay? And some security command, right? Grant permission command, right? Like role-based access. So I want to give the permission to the specific role-based access I want to give. So grant permission commands are there. So RWXCA. So R for represent read privilege, write privilege, execute privilege, and create privilege or admin privilege. Okay. So some specific user, we can specify the position permissions and we can revoke, right? If you want to revoke the permission, we can revoke from the user. Okay, so we can do. So if I want to check the permission, so user permission command, okay, let's see, user permission and then table. So any specific table. So user permission. So what is the default permission is there when I'm not setting a specific permission? So what is the permission? Security features are not, it's a disabled. Okay, we have to enable that feature, then it will be giving. So this time is saying user namespace disabled. So security features are not available. Permission. list all the permissions. So if the permission is there, then it will be grant permission. Check. I give my user. We have to enable it. Okay. So let me check this one. And apart from that, you just try this CRUD command. All this CRUD command you try, practice all this all. Okay. So Java project, and I will RESTL. So those command I will provide. Okay. So next thing is flume. Okay. So flume is the last topic of Hadoop. Okay. After this, we will start the Spark. Okay. So we have covered the topic wise. Okay. Uh, SDFS, MapReduce, Hive, Scoop, hbase. Okay. And flume is our last topic of Hadoop. The next is a Spark I will start. So that will be important topic. Okay. So interviews is more than 60-70% is a part of Spark. Okay. So we have to start Spark, um, basic fundamentals of the Spark, and we will be, before starting Spark, we have to start Python. So I will be giving you the tutorial. So you have enough time, next 3-4 days, you can prepare basic fundamental programming Python. Okay. Okay, so why I'm giving you two, right? Because you can start writing small piece of code and understand the Python basic fundamental structure, right? And try it out if you can do some programming. And I have 143 exercise questions, right? Python. So try it out, do maximum programming, okay? Because if your programming is strong, so one advantage is like in the interview, they are asking straightforward Python question. So you will be able to write any Python code or you can understand Python code. And the second advantage is you will get the Python in PySpark. So when we will be writing code in the PySpark, so there you will understand the Python programming, okay? Because PySpark is completely using Python code, okay? And we have Scala also, okay? So I will do some part of the Scala, but our main focus is Python, okay? Because two different programming, Python and Scala, it is not easy to do together, okay? So I will give focus on the Python so that you can learn maximum Python, PySpark, and Scala, the basic features like the features which is really needed, like for interview point of view and coding point of view, okay? So you can follow two tutorials I'm telling you, one Python and one for Scala. Okay. So before coming to the next, right, you can ready yourself one Python tutorial of W3 scope. Okay. This entire tutorial, if you just go through it till here, till file handling. Okay. Okay. So till here, if you complete it, this entire part, if you complete it, just do all this basic syntax code, right? Like lambda, for loop, while loop, collections, list, exception handling. Okay. So everything is covered till here. Like even the exception handling, you and file handling, right? And regex operations, right? Regular expression, JSON, right? Modules, scope. So oops concept, right? Inheritance, right? So this, if you cover this one, it is good enough for starting the PySpark. Okay. And the second one is a Scala tutorial. So Scala tutorial of T point. Okay. So this is, I refer this Java T point Scala. So this is completely Scala. So first finish the Python and or first finish Scala. Scala also, like when you start the Scala, just understand like Scala is also same programming, like similar to Java. So you will find more similarity to the Java. When you see here the syntax, first you starting with the Scala, you will find there is a val and where is there. So whenever you are finding here, starting the Scala program, so we write our main function in object. So object is like prototype is like a class, okay? But here in the Scala Python, this object is a like a class, okay, where we write a main function. But in this Java and Python, we have a class where we write a main function, okay? So these are the two scripting language, Python and Scala, okay? So here is comes one concept of val and var. So every variable you define as a variable type, either var or val. So val is a mutable, immutable type, and var is a mutable, okay? So when you define any variable using the val, you cannot change. If you try to do change the value, it will give you the compilation error. And when you are assigning a value to the var type of data type, okay, var variable type, then you can reassign the value, okay? So everything in the Scala we define in the left side, either var or val, okay? You know, right, in the Java or programming language, we use the data type, right? I write int x, right? Whenever I write a code in the Java, I write, I write I simple like I write to the int, right? So I say int x, and then I say Java like x equal to 10. So in the Python is very pretty straightforward. There is no need to define the data type. Python, you simply say x equal to 10, and then you say print x, okay? So this is in the Python. But when you are writing in the Scala you have to define a variable, any variable type, the object type or is the class type or any primitive type, you have to define either var or val. So when you say var x equal to 10, and then you can reassign the value 20, okay? But in case of val, you define x equal to 10, then you cannot define x equal to 20. So it will give you the reassignment error. And one more difference in the Java and Scala, like Java need a semicolon. Every statement you end with the semicolon. But Scala and Python, there is no ending, like anything you don't need to end. Okay. So these are the some basic difference.
No, that one.
These are the some basic difference. Okay. So when you start the Scala, just basic things you understand, like while loop, for loop. Okay. So while loop is like you are defining variable and then you are looping a variable. So you will find the Java syntax and Scala syntax almost same, because both are using the braces, right? Like, okay, if you have any block, you will write in the braces, right? Suppose this while loop, you are writing in the braces, right? But in case of Python, everything is alignment, okay? So if I'm defining if condition, so I say if x equal 10, and I will use the colon, and then I will use the tab, and then I will write a print statement, okay? So I write, this is my, there is no braces in the Python, okay? So this is a Python code. So this kind of fundamental things you need to understand, where and how to write syntax. So Java Scala syntax is same in terms of programming syntax, right? Instead of only where or well, that's a main difference between the Java Scala. Okay. Okay, so these two tutorials, I will mention it in the classroom links. You can follow this two. I'm giving it here. So Scala tutorial, and one is Python. Okay. So these two tutorials you prepare before coming to next session in the Spark. Okay. Okay. So next thing I'm going to tell about like flume. So flume is okay. So what is the flume? So flume is ingestion tool. We know scoop is an ingestion tool. So what is the difference between the flume and scoop? Right? Both are ingestion tool. So scoop is ingestion tool for structured data. So structured data which is coming from RDMS data, RDBMS. Okay. So data is coming any RDMS database tool, Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server. Okay. So that structured data we are importing through the scoop. But Flume is the ingestion tool for for ingestion for the unstructured and semi-structured data, semi-structured. Okay. So unstructured means like any audio, video file, audio, video, video, images, okay, or semi-structures like CSV, JSON, XML, any type of files data. Okay. So Flume is, it is also not only this unstructured, semi-structured, it's streaming data also. So streaming data is a continuous data is coming. Okay, this continuous data is coming from some other streaming source. So like Twitter is a one example, right? There is a hashtag data. So hashtag handler data, we can get it through Flume. Okay. So we will have a connection with Flume to the Twitter, right? So there is a one type of source of data. So Flume is having three components. So one component in the Flume is a source. Second one is a channel, source, channel, and sync. Okay. So source is the data is coming from a source. So this source can be a file system, right? Any source can be like Twitter is a one source, okay, or Kafka can be one source, or we can say Hadoop file system, local file system is a one source. So I say one example, like we use a put command, right, to write a file from local file system to Hadoop file system. So this put command we use, instead of put command, we can use the Flume to copy or write a file in Hadoop file system. Okay. So I will tell about that is one type of ingestion also. Okay. And different sources are there. And channel is a medium, the data is flowing. So I have three channels are there. One is a memory channel, file channel, and the JDBC channel. Okay. So JDBC channel is specifically used for the databases, SQL databases. So I can say the Flume can be used for, instead of using a scoop, the Flume can import the data from the databases also. So there is a JDBC channel. Okay. And other than JDBC channel, there is a memory channel. The data will be transferred through the memory and data will be transferred through the files. Okay. So it will create a files, the destination place, like it will create a data into the file. The sync is the target. So target is your location. Target is the place where your data is reaching. Yeah. So I say in this case, SDFS is a sync. So most of the data we are bringing into the Hadoop file system. So if I'm reading a data from Kafka or Twitter or any local file system, the final destination for my data is Hadoop file system sync, right? So sync is Hadoop file system. And this all three component is part of one agent, okay, in the agent. And this agent is a wrapper, okay, is a wrapper. And within that wrapper, within this wrapper, this complete source channel sync will be there. Okay. So Flume, like mostly nowadays is not being used. Like we have the Spark for the streaming data, right? So Spark can fulfill our requirement for all types of ingestion, right? Even the structured data. So if I say Spark is a substitute of your Flume and Scoop both, okay? Flume and Scoop both, because we have a three types of data requirement, right? Either a structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data. So if I say structured data is being done by Scoop and Flume is doing unstructured and semi-structured data. So all three types of requirement is fulfilled by the Spark. So Spark is a processing engine which can ingest the data by replacing this Flume and Scoop. But still, if I don't want to set up the Spark, because Spark is completely programming type of model, and you have to write a code, you have to set up your cluster, and then you have to do the job setup. So it's a like it's good for like you don't want to take it the solution for uh, you want a solution for every day, right? But it's a one time thing, and it's a like a small data import you want to do, So you don't want to go for Spark, right? Because Spark for the huge amount of data import you are doing, right? So in that case, you can go with Flume and Scoop. So these are the solutions. We don't need a complete setup, right? We need to do, right? Okay. So it's just a simple flume ng command you use or scoop import command you do, and you can bring your data. Okay. So Spark is not only ingestion. Spark is not only ingestion. So ingestion, definitely you do the ingestion, not only ingestion, but you have to do processing also. Not only ingestion, you have to do processing, processing of data after ingestion, processing of the data, and then loading data to some target, loading data to other destination. Okay. So if I say, if I don't have any requirement of processing of data, then Flume and Scoop are the best solution, because the Spark needs a full configuration setup, right? So it is completely development activity, and then you have to deployment, and those activities you have to do. And Flume and Scoop is, it's a tool, right? You just write your command and you can execute command, right? So if you don't have any requirement, if you don't have, like Flume and Scoop are good, Flume and Scoop are good when you have less data to transfer, less data to transfer from source to destination. Okay. And second is, um, no processing logic is required. No processing logic. So you seen in the scoop, we are not doing any processing logic. We are importing data and writing data as it is in the Hadoop file system. So no processing logic is required. So you can go with Flume and Scoop. Okay. But if your task is a repeated task, right, you have to every day, and or it is a scheduled task, right, you have to perform this task regularly, then is Spark, and this processing logic is a scheduled logic, every day is a scheduled logic, then we go with the Spark, right? Okay. Anyone has any question? Why we need, because Spark is not only ingestion, it is doing processing as well, but Flume and Scoop is like we mostly write like only ingestion, right? Okay. So Flume setup, first of all, we have to download the Flume. So you go to the Flume website, like this Flume Apache org. So here you will see Flume, Apache Flume bin tar file. So you can download this tar file if you click on this, and just download this one and set your Flume home path and bin path. So if I show you in my bash RC, okay. So I set it, just download the Flume, um, download the Flume home path and keep it in the software folder, because I'm keeping it everything in software, and set it this Flume home path. So this Flume home path, you set it this Flume home and Flume bin path, and then you can test it whether your Flume is working or not. So after the setting in the nano bash RC, in the bash RC, you have to use the source command. Okay. Source, because this command is every time you need it whenever you do any changes in the bash RC. After that, you test your Flume, just you type Flume ng, it will show you the parameters. If this is coming, it means your Flume ng command, you can write the other parameter you can provide. So Flume is basically a configuration based tool. There is no coding, nothing. Just you have to write your config file. So when you go to your Flume, and then inside the Flume there is a conf folder, and this conf folder, they are the different configuration file we create, whatever my requirement. So they will give you the one template configuration file. So one template configuration file they will give, and that template configuration, this is like a template, Flume conf properties template. If you open this configuration template, So this is the structure, how you define the agent. Agent is, I told you, wrapper, right? So agent dot sources, agent dot channel, agent dot sync. Okay. So any particular type of configuration you are defining, so you have to use these properties. So we take an example of any one property file and we create. Okay. So let me show you first spool dir. So this spool dir is, I was talking about how can I write a file from my local file system to Hadoop file system. So the source type is a spool dir. So spool dir is a source type. So when I'm defining my properties in the configuration file, I will create my own configuration file. I kept it, the name of the configuration file is a spool dir conf. And here I'm talking about my properties, right? So I told you there are three types of properties are there: source, channel, and sync. So I'm giving agent one is my agent name. Any name you can keep it this one, but this will be common everywhere. Okay. So agent one dot sync, the sync name, agent one dot sources, source name, and agent one dot channel name. So whatever you give here, if you see the same thing you are using here. Can you see agent one dot syncs dot SDFS sync, then dot type. So it is very easy to write. Once you define these three property, okay, after that you have to define further property of these three, like channel properties, sources properties, and sync properties. And the last section is how can you make it associate your pipeline like connected. So if I say agent one dot sources dot source one dot channel is my channel name, that is my file channel. And if I say agent dot sync dot my sync name dot channel, that is file channel. So here my pipeline is connected. So here basically we are creating a source component, sync component, and we are connecting the source and sync component through channel. Okay, so through channel is a common between the source and sync, which is connecting the data from the source to sync. But here, the important thing is when you are defining the properties, right? So these properties are very specific. Like when you're defining the file channel property, so type property is there. So type property says whether your type is a memory type or file type. So here my type is a file type. If it is a file type, so what is the capacity? Like how many messages record you have a capacity and transaction capacity. So these are the common properties we have to use for the channel. When we come to the source name dot type property. So here will be different source are there. I will show you. There is a one source is a Kafka source. There is a one other type of source is a sequence source. There is a one other source is, if you see in my folder, there is a one sequence source is there, one Twitter source is there, right? And there is a execute source is there, EXEC. Okay. So you will see what are the different sources are there. So this source you have to give. But this particular source is basically copying your file from your local file system to Hadoop file system. So in the spool dir, I'm telling what is my source of your file. My source of your file is the one directory in my home folder. In this directory, my all files are there, which I want to transfer to the Hadoop file system. Okay. When my file is completed successfully, then my suffix will be added. This suffix will be added in my file extension dot completed. Okay. Second one is a sync type. So I told you this sync type is a common to across the different configuration. Okay. So source can be the Kafka source, files, the spool dir source, but final destination target is the SDFS sync. So you will see in the other configuration files, the sync type is you are using SDFS sync. And here is the SDFS sync. I'm providing the path where I want to copy my file. So there will be a directory will be created, the output directory, and this output directory, my files will be copied. Okay. So simple, what I need to do for running any Flume configuration, just create a one Flume configuration file and you can run your flume ng command. Okay. And give this configuration file. So once this configuration file is passed to your flume ng command, it will start transferring the data from your local file system to Hadoop file system. So I need to check my local file system folder. Like I created a, you can create any folder name. Okay. So I created a spool dir folder. So I have already files are completed. Okay. So what I do, I delete this file. I copied a new set of files. So I take it some files. Okay. And these files, I paste it here. Okay. I will transfer this file to Flume. Okay. And my source location of the files, my home, my user directory, my spool dir, right? So this is same thing is set already in my spool dir. And this one, so make sure like this directory is already created. So you change this one, okay? Because otherwise it will give you the error. It is already exists, okay? So you set it this one and you have to run flume ng command, okay? So let me find the flume. So Flume 3, 4 examples are there. If you practice those examples, you can you can tell about anyone about Flume, right? What is the source channel saying, how to configure it. Okay. I have the flume ng command. This is the flume ng command. So any flume ng command, just you have flume ng agent name. Agent, this is the agent keyword. And this is just logger statement we give. And minus minus conf, and then we are giving our conf file path and agent name. So you remember, right, in the file, I have agent, my agent name is the agent one. Suppose you have given agent one, instead of that, you given agent 2 or 3 or 10, whatever agent you give. Okay. So this name, whatever you keep it, same you have to give in the command. Okay. So when I'm running the command here, so there are, you have to, this command can be run from anywhere, but I have to provide a correct path of my this spool dir conf. If I'm not giving a correct path, so it will say this spool dir conf file is not found. So can you see this error? It is trying to search the file in my home directory. So if I check here, I'm giving a conf directory, okay, and I say dot slash conf and slash. So in this conf directory, it is looking for this directly, this file is looking for in the my home directory, okay, but my file is not in the home. So I give, either I can give here the complete path or dot slash, and here is a conf, and inside this conf, the file is there. Okay. So if you see now Flume is started, like it is transferring the data. Okay. Okay. We can stop now. Okay. So first of all, we check in our local folder. Okay. Control C, Control C. So here, if I see my local folder, see, actually I have stopped it. So it is completed. Maybe there it is has to. Limit is coming. GC. So you will see if the location, if I see, so one file is converted. Okay, so if I see my location, Hadoop access yes, flume. My target location is this flume 1 2. So this location, so you will not get a individual file because data is streaming kind of way the data is transferred. So you will see in these files, the data will be there. So this is some of the file which has this data, right? So this data is there. So yeah, this file or any other file also. This is a very large file, right? The one file is very, very large. This X3G file. Okay, so this way you can do through the spool dir. Okay, so another configuration is there. The flume, we look at the con. So here I can generate the sequence number. So I can generate the sequence number through the flume. So there is a source type. Now you will understand, right? This. So here agent name I kept it sequence gen agent, right? This is my agent name, and I'm defining the source name, memory channel name, and SDFS. So here I'm telling about my source type is sequence type. So here is only one property for the source type, only one property, that is a sequence. And the SDFS side, we have the same like SDFS type is SDFS sync and SDFS path. These are the common properties of the sync SDFS sync type. Third one is a channel type. So channel type is here memory channel. Okay. So memory channel, and it is creating a file as a sequence, but data is transferred through memory channel. Okay. And here is the association of the source to channel and sync to channel. Okay. So here is a association of the source to sync, sync to source to channel and sync to channel. Okay. So if I want to run this one, how I have to run? So I have to change, like suppose I want to create a different folder. So I'm just changing this. Okay. And I will be flume ng command. So I have to change the configuration file. What is my this configuration file is? My configuration file is sequence gen. Okay. It's the same folder seq underscore gen dot conf and the agent name, because if I don't give the correct agent name, so it will not find. Okay. If I try this, so it will be keep checking in your file. So agent it will not find. Okay. So you have to provide a correct agent name. Okay. See what error is there? No configuration found for this host agent one, because it has parsed. It is getting this agent, and your agent is a agent one, right? So it's wrong, right? So it cannot pass. So it is expecting when you are giving your property, right? So you give the current agent name. Okay. So here minus n is you have to give the current agent name. Okay. Then you run. Yeah. So it is generating the sequence number. Okay. Let me show you. Control G. Because if you don't stop it, it will keep continue. Okay. So we have to stop and check. Okay. Because we are doing testing purpose, so we can check the data, right? So Hadoop purpose minus ls. So I will be checking the data in my this directory. So there are the files are created, this temp file. So this TMP files having the data of the sequence. Okay. So I will be checking the data. So, so it will be simple sequence number are there. do cat command. Okay, so when you do cat command, so you can see it is started the sequence number. So this sequence number you can use anywhere. Okay, so this is the sequence generator type is there. Okay, so this is the second one example. The third example, I want to show you the execute conf. So execute conf is your source type is execute. Okay, execute means like you can run any command that is execute. So you can write a cat command, you can run a tail command, you can do copy command, whatever you wanted to done in your local file system file. Okay, so you can give the path of your file and it will do the execute command. Okay, so if you want that output, like whatever output you want, like suppose tail command is giving some output. So that output you can take it in a some Hadoop path, right? So suppose this tail command output you want to take in your file. So you can give the sync type SDF. So far we are doing all sync type is a SDFS sync. But the source type you see here, EXEC, this is a source type. And the command is the source type exe, the command is a tail command. But suppose you want to do cat command, so just instead of tail -f you will do the cat command. Okay. But here less properties are there because source, sync, and here is the memory channel you are defining. Okay, so here just I change this and save this, and same way I can run this configuration file. So what I need to do, what is the agent name? The agent name is the agent one. Okay, agent one. Okay, and my configuration file is execute conf. And now I'm executing this. This is this is the tail command one. Okay, so it will write the data of this tail command of file into the Hadoop file system. Okay, so these examples you can see in the tutorial point flume. So tutorial point flume, the same examples I've taken from there. So when you start the flume here, you can go through the basic structure, architecture, okay, environment, configuration, fetching the Twitter data, sequence generator source, okay, and one more is a netcat, okay. So netcat is a utility, like I can copy, I can write some syntax, I write some like message on the network, right? Some telnet. So I will get the message. Okay. I will show you the next one. Telnet. Okay. So let's see. It is already done. Right? Okay. So here Hadoop fs minus ls. This is my path. So whatever Hadoop path you give, you have to check your output on the same path. Okay, so this file, we can see any command execution result in the Hadoop file system. Okay, so here data is coming encrypted way. Data is coming. So this is the file data. Okay. So this is the execute one. Okay. Another one is like you want to get the data from the NatCat. So NatCat is like you have some telnet utility you have. There you are writing a message on the NatCat. So here the source type is NatCat. Okay. So NatCat is providing a utility to connect any network, and you can get the messages from network to your Flume console. So here is the sync is not Hadoop file system sync. Here the sync is a logger sync, like console messages. So you will get your output on the console messages. Okay. So here we don't need to do any change. Just we have to start our telnet utility. Okay. So we will start telnet and then we can send the message. So you can go through more in the every properties type. So logger sync. So just we need to change our configuration file, and in the configuration file, we have to define what is my the netcat port. So I use my netcat port 4999. So whatever port you keep at your port, so you have to start your netcat. So like this, curl command we have to use. So we have to use curl command. So I have to start one more terminal to start for the telnet. So once it is connected, so when I type the message, okay, let's start this one. So file name is netcat.com. So you have to run every command like this only. So it will be listening on the telnet port. Okay. So once this will start, this configuration file will start listening on this port. Okay. Whatever port I given here. So it will be waiting for the message coming from the telnet port. So telnet client I have to start and it should work. Okay. So I have to check like how to, maybe sometimes it works, sometimes it is not working. Then in that case, I have to check my connection. So see here it is expecting the this telnet source, it is expecting the messages. Network source. Okay. Okay, I think it is working. Okay, so it means like when we start it in the flume, right? So then it will start connecting. So now if I'm typing the message hello, so I will get a confirmation by okay, right? So I can see here my hello message is coming, right? It is like a chat communication you seen in the network chat, right? So telnet is a utility, right? You can connect to socket connection, right? So you are connecting, and then once your message is delivered successfully, then it is giving a okay as a confirmation, right? So you can see here this netcat utility is basically this flume is reading data. So it's similar to Twitter, you can say. So here is Twitter is the external source, that is external source, that is a third party source. Okay. But here this netcat is you started locally in your system, right? Or some other host you can give, even not needed locally. It can be from any other host, but it's kind of network connection. But when you talk about the when we talk about Twitter. So Twitter is the source. Twitter is the source which is completely for streaming data, and it's a external website vendor, right? So you are getting.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
So here in the Twitter one, when you open the Twitter conf, this is the last example. In this Twitter example, we have to provide a Twitter is a source type. So this is the API class of the Twitter source. And you are providing the other consumer key, secret key, access token, and you are providing the keyword on what keyword you want to get the hashtags. And you are trying to say, you are saying here, like, what is my HDFS sync channel, sync. So this is my location of the HDFS where I want to get the data. So if I start, but if this my all this secret parameter, right? My consumer key, secret key, access token, if these are allowed, then only you can get the data from the Twitter. Because now the security point of view, Twitter has you have to take a permission, right? You have to take it, you have to apply a request to get the data from the Twitter. You cannot take it. Previously, it was easy to take the data from the Twitter, but nowadays it's like developer account should have. You should have a Twitter account, and you should have you have to request for the to get the data from the Twitter. So you have to request, and then your request is approved. Then only you can fetch the data from the Twitter. So here, if you can see the steps, what are the steps is needed, like to fetch the data from the Twitter. You have a Twitter account, you have to go to the developer account, and there you have to create a, access key, secret key, and this access token and secret token. And once you create these all four parameters there, and then you can start receiving the data in your application. So first part is a create a Twitter application. This part you have to do in the Twitter itself. Okay. And once you've done this part, this is the Twitter app. There you have to create your new app, and you have to provide the, you have to generate the tokens. And once your all tokens are generated, okay, then you can use these tokens in your Flume configuration. So in the Flume configuration, just I have to add the source, channel, and sync. So in the source type, you have to add your token keys. Okay. So once you have these tokens, then you can start fetching the data into your Hadoop file system. Okay. If I try right now with my existing one, okay. So I will not fetch the data because those are the pretty old connection details. Okay. Let me show you. So I'm stopping this. So here, if my Twitter conf file, so what is my agent name in the Twitter? And I change my Twitter conf file name, that is twitter.com. Last time also I tried, but we need to do configuration, so it is failing. So you will see the message here. Like Twitter stream consumer establishing connection exception. So it is not able to establish the connection with my old parameters because these parameters are not valid, right? This consumer secret. So once we have the latest parameters, latest this passwords, okay, secret access token keys, okay, then I can connect, okay. So you can check the new configuration, how to apply for the getting data from the Twitter, right? So how can we send a request for getting non-commercial use, right? You can tell. So then they can provide the access, right? But they will give a limited access because they will very just for testing purpose, right? You are going to use for flume, right? For the testing purpose. So you will get a limited access data, right? So for testing purpose, it will be enough to you, right, to see the files. So you will see once your data is coming from the Twitter, right, and then it will be stored in the files in a JSON file. So in the JSON data will be stored in your this Hadoop. Okay. Okay. So these examples you try, only these examples you can't practice. Okay. But if you find it, otherwise I will provide a link that how to get this all four configuration properties detail, how you can get it, and you can configure for your Twitter access. Okay. So try these examples. I will put these files, okay, and same flume ng command to configure and run. But before that, you set up your flume, okay. Then you can test your. And if you want to get more detail, you can see there in the this flume tutorial. Okay, this is the tutorial points, flume tutorial. You can see all my examples are here. And further in the flume is some multiplexing and some more concept is there. Those are advanced concept in the flume, like some data flow concept, right? So how flume not only can take the data from one source, like suppose your data is coming multiple source and you can send one single sync, or you are getting the data from the one source and you are sending to the multiple sync. So that concept is called the multiplexing. Okay. So multiplexing, let me show you. So multiplexing is you can fan in, fan out, right? You can take data from different source and write to one sync or different or one source to write to the multiple sync. Okay. So the simple example is like one source, one sink. That is pretty simple example. There is a source is one and sink is one. But if you have the multiple source or multiple sink, in that case, you will be having the collectors, right? So you are getting data from the multiple source, multiple sink. So there is a fan in, fan out concept is there. Okay. So there is two concepts are there in the fan out. One is replicating and one is a multiplexing. So data flow where the data will be sent a selected channel, which is mentioned in the header of the event. Okay. So that is multiplexing, and replicating is the data is replicated to the multiple uh, different places like a replica copy. Okay. And this is a fan out, and fan in is the data flow in which the data will be transferred from many sources to one channel is known as fan in. So event handling we can write, okay. We can do, this is very simple configuration examples I told you. But if you want to do some more event handling things and failure handling, like suppose your messages are not received at the target, so what error failure handlings you can do. So you can configuration for the failure handling you can do. Okay. Okay, first you try these examples, right? The basic first examples you try, and I will give you the documentation for like advanced, like something multiplexing things you want to do. Okay, and you can research also, right? You can find more. in-depth thing, right? You want to understand more on the multiplexing, right? So what is a multiplexing concept is there. So you can search multiplexing in Flume example. So you can find like how to write. So this website is good. I already referred this one to you guys. So multiplexing channel sync. So you can see here the number of channels like C1, C2, C3. Okay. So some code examples will be there. Okay. Interceptor concept is there. Mm. So Flume documentation you look at, you will find in the Flume documentation, there are the various source and sync. You can see here the list of source of Flume user guide. Mm, documentation, Flume user guide. So you can see these are the list of sources, right? You can see these are the documentation. So you can see Kafka is a source, multi-configuration file, architecture, agent. These are the agent type. Okay, and sources. Yeah, Loom sources. Avro source, script source. This one I completed. JMS source. This is for Java application. Spool dir. This is I done. Twitter. This is also one I told. Kafka source. Natcat. This is I done. Okay, sequence source. This is we done. So Natcat has again TCP source or UDP source. They are the different category. Syslog source. Suppose your data is a log files data, right? So you can use the syslog source. Okay, there the syslog source is there, and the sync also the category is there. So we mostly use the SDFS sync, but Hive sync is there, Avro sync, Fifth sync, okay, hbase sync. You can get the data directly in the hbase. Okay, so you can use this and the channels, right? Memory channel, JDBC channel, Kafka channel. But these are the new changes added in the. Okay. Okay. Anyone has any question? Okay. So we'll connect on the Tuesday, right? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.